Have you ever felt that life, instead of flowing smoothly, seems to confront you with constant obstacles, as if something unseen were trying to hold you back? That sensation of weight, of resistance, is not an accident, nor is it a mere coincidence. There are moments when those destined for something greater, for a higher purpose, face the most intense forces, not to stop them, but to shape them, to prepare them for what lies ahead. These experiences, though challenging, are not a punishment. They are a call, a reminder that within you exists something the world needs. Imagine you are walking along a mountain path. Each step takes you higher, but it also demands more from you. The air becomes thinner, the stones on the trail more slippery, and at times, you feel you cannot go on. Yet, deep inside, something tells you that stopping is not an option. That drive, that force pushing you forward even when everything seems against you, is a sign that you are on a path not meant for just anyone. Not because you are weak, but because only those with a unique mission are tested in such a way. When walking this path, you may feel isolated, misunderstood, as if the world cannot see what you carry within. But this isolation is not loneliness. It is a stage of transformation, a space where you can truly listen to yourself, where you can connect with a part of you that has always known who you truly are. How many times have you felt that you are facing more than you can handle, that you have reached your limit? And how many times, even in those moments, have you found a strength that seemed to come from some deep, inexplicable place? That kind of strength cannot be explained logically. It is like a fire burning within you, even when everything around you feels cold and dark. And this fire, though powerful, also attracts forces that seek to extinguish it. These forces are not always visible, but you feel them. They are the whispers of doubt in your mind, the fears that appear when you least expect them, the situations that seem to arise out of nowhere to steer you off course. Think of the moment before dawn, when the darkness seems at its deepest. It is in those moments, just before the light breaks through, that the shadows appear the largest. But it is also when you are closest to something new, something that has the power to change everything. This phase of struggle, of apparent resistance, is not an indication that you are lost. On the contrary, it is proof that you are exactly where you need to be. In this process, it is common to feel as if you are being attacked, as if something or someone is trying to stop you. But these challenges are not what they seem. They are not there to destroy you, but to make you stronger. It is like a river encountering rocks in its path. The rocks do not stop the river. They shape it, guide it, and make it more powerful. Every difficulty, every hurdle, is an opportunity to discover what you are made of, to remember that within you lies a force that nothing and no one can extinguish. However, this journey is not easy. There will be moments when you question whether it all makes sense, whether you are truly meant for something greater, or if you are simply lost. These doubts are natural, even necessary, because through these questions you find your answers. It is as if the universe is challenging you to look beyond appearances, to seek the truth in the deepest parts of yourself. Imagine yourself in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the rain lashes against your skin, and everything seems to be in chaos. Yet, in the heart of that storm, there is a moment of stillness, an instant where everything pauses, and you can see with clarity. This is the power of introspection, of looking within yourself when everything around you feels like it is falling apart. In those moments, you discover that no matter how intense the storm, there is always a center of calm within you. As you move forward, you begin to notice something else. The trials and difficulties you face are not random. They seem to target your most vulnerable points, the parts of you that still need strengthening. It is as if the universe is showing you exactly where you need to grow. This can be difficult to accept because no one likes to feel exposed, but it is in that vulnerability where your greatest power lies. I want you to reflect. What part of yourself have you been avoiding? What aspects of your being are you afraid to confront because you know they hold your greatest lessons? This journey is not about avoiding pain or hardship, but about facing them with courage, knowing that each challenge is a gateway to a stronger, more authentic version of yourself. Along this path, you also begin to develop a sensitivity you did not have before. You can perceive the energy around you with greater clarity, when something is aligned with you and when it is not. It is as if your senses sharpen, allowing you to navigate the world with more intuition and confidence. But this sensitivity can also be overwhelming. Feeling so much, perceiving so deeply, can leave you exhausted. That is why finding moments of rest is crucial, spaces where you can recharge and reconnect with your essence. These moments of rest are not a luxury. They are a necessity. They are like the pause a marathon runner takes before continuing, the silence between musical notes that gives meaning to the melody. Without these pauses, the journey can become too heavy, too intense. So allow yourself to rest, to feel, and remember that you are not alone in this. As you continue forward, you begin to understand something even deeper. The trials are not a sign of weakness, but of strength. You would not be tested if you were not capable of overcoming them. You would not be on this path if you were not meant for something greater. This understanding does not erase the difficulties, but it gives you the strength to face them with new perspective. It is like an eagle soaring against strong winds. The same wind that might knock others down is what gives it the lift to reach heights that once seemed impossible. You are that eagle, and each time you choose to face the wind instead of retreating, you are strengthening your wings. Prepare yourself to soar higher than you ever imagined. This journey has no fixed endpoint. There is no moment when you can say, I have arrived. But every step, every choice, every act of bravery brings you closer to your truth. And that truth is not something you need to seek outside of yourself. It is already within you, waiting to be uncovered. So keep moving forward. Allow yourself to feel, to grow, to face whatever comes your way. Because this path, though demanding, is the path of the chosen. And even when you cannot always see it, every step you take is proof that you are exactly where you need to be. How many times have you found yourself questioning who you truly are? Not from a place of doubt, but from a need to uncover something deeper, something that transcends the superficial layers of your identity. These questions are not easy to answer, and often lead us to corners of our minds and hearts that we would rather avoid. However, it is precisely within those spaces that the truth you seek resides. Imagine for a moment that you are walking through a forest at dusk. Everything feels uncertain. The sounds and shadows play with your perception, and each step requires conscious effort. But suddenly, the sky begins to glow with a faint light, the first signs of dawn. That transformation does not happen abruptly. It is a gradual yet inevitable process. Your personal evolution is much the same. The light you are searching for does not come from outside, but ignites within you each time you choose to move forward despite fear. Fear is an inescapable part of this journey. It stands as a guardian at the gates of the unknown, testing your resolve, questioning your strength. But fear is not there to halt you. It exists to fortify you. Every time you choose to confront it, something within you expands. It is like a muscle growing with exertion, becoming more resilient, more formidable. In this process, you also begin to notice a pattern. You realize that the trials you face are not arbitrary. Each challenge seems intricately designed to teach you something specific, to highlight an aspect of yourself that needs strengthening or healing. This awareness does not erase the pain or hardships, but it gives them meaning, and that meaning fuels your perseverance. Think of a recent time when you felt like you could not go on. Perhaps it was a moment of uncertainty, loss, or deep doubt. Yet, somehow, you found a way to move forward. The strength you discovered in that moment was not external. It was a part of you that has always existed, waiting for you to trust in it. That trust does not emerge overnight. It is built step by step, choice by choice. Each time you decide to press on, each time you choose faith over fear, you strengthen that connection with yourself. And that connection is the key to overcoming any trial you face. As you progress, you also begin to notice a shift in your perception of time. What once felt like an unrelenting pressure now feels like a natural flow. It is as if you have stopped resisting the current and have started moving with it. This shift does not mean you stop taking action. Rather, you act from a place of greater clarity and intention. I want you to reflect. How would it feel to live each day without the weight of time's pressure, without the burden of external expectations? Not as a distant idea, but as a daily practice. How would it change the way you make decisions, the way you relate to yourself and to others? In this state, you also begin to perceive the energies around you with greater clarity. People, situations, even places take on a new depth. What once seemed invisible now feels tangible. This heightened sensitivity is not always easy to handle, as it makes you more aware of tension and discord, but it also grants you a powerful tool, the ability to discern what nurtures you and what drains you. This discernment is essential because it allows you to protect your energy without disconnecting from the world. It is like tending to a fire, ensuring that it does not extinguish, but also that it does not consume everything around it. That balance, though challenging, is what enables you to move forward with greater strength and clarity. On this path, you also come to understand the value of silence. Not external silence, but inner stillness. The space where you can hear your own voice without interference. This silence is not emptiness. It is full of wisdom, guidance, and truth. But to access it, you must allow yourself to be with yourself, without distractions, without judgment, simply present. Imagine sitting at the edge of a serene lake. The water reflects the sky, the mountains, everything around you, but it also reflects something more, yourself. Every movement, every thought, every emotion is mirrored on its surface. And as you observe, you begin to realize that you do not need to change the reflection. You only need to accept it, because in that acceptance, you find the freedom to be who you truly are. That freedom is not something the world gives you. It is something you uncover within. It is a certainty that no matter what happens around you, you can always return to that place of calm, of clarity, of connection. This place is not a destination. It is a state of being that you can choose to inhabit at any moment. As you continue moving forward, you start to realize that the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable no longer hold the same power over you. Not because they have changed, but because you have changed. It is as if you have discovered an inner strength that is not dependent on external circumstances. I want you to ponder this. What part of yourself have you yet to explore? What potential is waiting to be discovered, to be acknowledged, to be lived? This journey is not about becoming someone else. It is about remembering who you are at your core. This remembrance does not happen all at once. It is an ongoing journey, a process of discovery that unfolds with every moment, every decision, every step you take. And while the path may be demanding, it is also filled with beauty, learning, and growth. Every time you choose to move forward, even when fear whispers in your ear, you are creating something greater than yourself. You are paving a path not only for yourself, but for all those who will come after you. This path has no defined endpoint because it is not about reaching a destination. It is about walking with intention, with openness, with the willingness to learn and transform at every step. And though the journey may sometimes feel solitary, you are never truly alone. Every step you take, every choice you make, is woven into a greater flow, a connection that binds all who seek their truth. In this flow, you realize that trials are not punishments but opportunities. They are not signs that you are in the wrong place, but confirmations that you are exactly where you need to be. Because only those destined for something greater face challenges that test their strength, their faith, their resolve. I want you to envision a sunrise on a mountaintop. The sky begins to brighten, though the sun has yet to appear. You feel the chill of the air, the weight of your ascent, but also the anticipation of what is about to unfold. And when the sun finally emerges over the horizon, it does not just illuminate the landscape. It illuminates everything within you, reminding you why you embarked on this journey. That sunrise is not the end of your path, but a reminder that every step is worthwhile. Because what you are building is not just for yourself. Each time you choose to move forward, you are forging a trail that others can also follow, a light that can guide those still searching for their own truth. Every moment you experience in this process of transformation carries a depth that is not always immediately understood. It is as if each event is designed not only to challenge you, but to invite you to look deeper within. Layers begin to fall away, not because you're losing something, but because you are letting go of what was never truly yours. This release is not passive. It is a conscious choice to free yourself from what no longer serves your growth. In this journey, trials do not occur only once. Sometimes, the same situations seem to repeat themselves, not because you're failing, but because each level of transformation requires a deeper understanding. Think of a river encountering a series of similar bends, but each at a higher elevation, carrying the water ever closer to the ocean. This pattern is not a trap. It is a progression guiding you toward the most authentic version of yourself. Imagine walking along a spiral that winds around a mountain. At first glance, it may seem as if you're passing to the same places, but in reality, you are ascending higher each time. Each step brings you closer to a broader, clearer perspective, and though at times it may feel as if you are moving backward, you are, in truth, delving into deeper layers of your own being. This constant movement begins to transform your relationship with the world. The things that once seemed so important, external opinions and material achievements, start to fade away like mist at dawn. This doesn't mean they lose their value, but rather that you discover something more essential, a connection with yourself that isn't dependent on anything or anyone. As this connection strengthens, you begin to notice that external circumstances no longer have the same power over you. Challenges and difficulties don't disappear, but their weight lessens. What once seemed insurmountable now feels like an opportunity, a door that doesn't open by force, but through understanding. Think of a recent moment when you faced an obstacle that seemed impossible to overcome. Perhaps you felt like there was no way out, but looking back, you now realize that moment offered you something more valuable than any immediate solution. It showed you what you are made of. The strength you found within yourself wasn't new. It had always been there, waiting to be discovered. This discovery doesn't happen in a single instant. It's a constant reminder that reveals itself with every step, with every decision to move forward despite doubts. Each time you choose to keep going, each time you trust in your own ability to transform what you face, you affirm your inner power. Your relationship with time also begins to shift. What once felt like a race now becomes a flow. You are no longer rushing toward a destination, but instead begin to value the journey itself, knowing that every moment holds its own lesson, its own purpose. I want you to reflect. How would your life change if you stopped measuring progress by external goals and instead appreciated the simple act of moving forward? This perspective doesn't erase challenges, but it transforms how you face them, allowing you to find peace even amidst constant movement. Imagine a dense forest where the trees seem to close off every path. But as you keep moving forward, you suddenly find a clearing, a space where light breaks through, illuminating everything around you. That clearing is not an accident. It is a reminder that even in the darkest places, there is always a step toward the light. That light doesn't come from outside. It is within you, waiting for you to trust it, to use it as a guide. And in doing so, you discover that the shadows you fear were simply parts of yourself that needed to be seen and accepted. This path has no defined endpoint. Every step you take is not a movement toward something external, but a return to your essence, to what you have always been. And although the journey may sometimes feel solitary, every choice you make, every step you take, is woven into a greater flow, a connection that binds all those who seek their truth. At this stage of the journey, you begin to realize that what you are experiencing is not just about overcoming obstacles, but a deep restructuring of everything you once believed yourself to be. It's not that you are changing in the most superficial sense. Rather, you are allowing a more authentic version of yourself to emerge from the core of your being. This process, though transformative, can feel like a constant battle between what you used to believe and what is now revealing itself with undeniable force. The signs that you're going through something significant are not always obvious. They often manifest as uncertainty, as an emptiness calling your attention to something you have avoided for a long time. That emptiness is not an enemy. It is a sacred space. It is the place where the old makes way for the new. And while this new beginning may not always arrive with the clarity you expected, imagine standing before a blank canvas. It is intimidating because everything you once knew is gone, but it is also a reminder that you have the power to decide what will be painted there. This moment of emptiness is, in reality, an invitation. What do you want to create? What are you willing to release to make space for what you truly wish to manifest? In the midst of this process, you also discover something profound. The trials you face are neither accidents nor punishments. Every experience is connected. As if an invisible force were weaving a thread between the darkest moments and the most illuminating revelations of your life. This understanding does not erase pain, but it transforms it. It is no longer just suffering. It becomes a fertile ground where your strength can grow. I want you to reflect. How do difficulties change when you see them as a bridge to a stronger, more authentic version of yourself? What lessons are you avoiding learning because they seem too uncomfortable or difficult? These questions are not easy to answer, but within them lies the seed of transformation. It is in these moments that you also start to notice how your relationship with yourself is changing. What you once judged harshly, you now observe with compassion. You begin to understand that you cannot move forward while fighting against parts of yourself that still need healing. This compassion is not indulgence. It is an act of power, because by fully accepting yourself, even in your imperfections, you free yourself from the burden of pretending to be something you are not. This shift in your relationship with yourself also affects how you connect with others. The expectations, fears, and judgments that once seemed inseparable from your relationships begin to dissolve. Not because other people have changed, but because you have changed. You are learning to relate from a place of wholeness, not lack. And in that wholeness, you find a deeper, more genuine connection with those around you. But it doesn't stop there. You also begin to notice something that has always been present, though perhaps you had not perceived it. Your connection to everything around you, the patterns in nature, the coincidences that seem too precise to be accidental, the inexplicable sensations that guide you toward important decisions, all of these begin to form a tapestry, a constant reminder that you are not separate from the world, but intrinsically connected to it. This understanding shifts the way you perceive your own limits. What once seemed impossible now feels like a challenge you are willing to face. Not because you have guarantees of success, but because you know that every step you take, even if it doesn't lead to the expected outcome, brings you closer to your truth. I want you to think about this. How many times have you limited your actions out of fear of failure? And what could you achieve if you acted with the certainty that even in apparent failure, there is learning, growth, and purpose? This certainty is not something that arrives overnight. It is something you build moment by moment. Every time you choose to trust yourself instead of the external voices trying to find who you should be, it's like building a bridge, stone by stone. With every choice you make, even if the bridge is not yet complete, you can see that it is taking shape, that it is leading you towards something greater. As this bridge is built, you also notice a change in the way you experience time. What once seemed like a race against the clock now feels like a natural flow, as if every moment arrives exactly when you need it, neither sooner nor later. This change doesn't eliminate difficulties, but it gives you the patience to face them with a broader, calmer perspective. Imagine, for a moment, that you are sitting by a riverbank, watching the water flow effortlessly, without resistance. There is no rush, no struggle, just a constant movement toward the ocean. This flow is not something you need to control. It is something you can learn to follow, trusting that it will take you exactly where you need to be. In this state of trust, you discover something else, a lightness you had not experienced before. This doesn't mean difficulties disappear, but their weight no longer crushes you. It's as if you've learned to carry them differently, more balanced, more consciously. I want you to reflect on this. What burdens are you carrying that you no longer need? What beliefs, expectations, or fears are you willing to release, so you can walk more freely toward what you truly desire? This process of letting go is not immediate. It is a continuous act, a constant reminder that you don't need to hold on to what no longer serves you. And in that release, you create space for the new, for the authentic, for what truly resonates with your deepest being. This space is not emptiness, but a canvas, an opportunity to create something that reflects your truth. And though you may not always know exactly how to fill it, you trust that each brushstroke, each decision, each step you take is contributing to something greater, something more meaningful.